going to show a little preview on how I'm going to, in the future, I got to make another video about this using my Jonsbo N3 NAS case that I built in a couple of videos before, using the expansion slot cover where you see that orange arrow pointing down. That's only a cover. There's no place to attach it to the motherboard. And I'll be using the SF8643 to SF8644 to make that happen. And from here on out, I'm just going to say the numbers. I'm not going to say SFF because I'll be mumbling worse than I ever do. Okay? But that's what I'm going to use, basically. That's what got me started. As you can see on my this slide, I got my Promise Technology 4600 Super Swap. Real old. Doesn't go more than 3 gigabits a second, they say. And I'm using if you can see the mouse moving, on the left, one 8643, 8644 connector, adapter actually, on the enclosure side, and one actually inside the NAS case. Now, this one's going to be, the one on the left is going to be used on the enclosure side in a case, but for right now, we're not going to use a case. I'm just trying to show how this stuff works, I hope. Okay, right now I'm using an LSI 9308i HBA, which is a host bus adapter, of course. And I'm going to make this actually work better, because I'm using it in my Jonsbo with the TrueNAS already running, I'm going to replace it with the LSI 9300 16i, which is the 16 drives. Each plug-in, as you can see on the top 8643 connectors, handles 4 drives each, okay? Now remember, HBA is a host bus adapter, not a RAID controller, okay? RAID controller is totally different. I kind of like that better, but because we're using TrueNAS and things like that, this is a perfect kind of a board for that. I like RAID controllers like if I'm using Windows or stuff like that. Now, how it's going to happen is this. Starting from the top left, you got the 8643 cable, which is from one going into the card, one going into the back of this adapter here, okay? Then on the other side, which is outside the case, there'll be an 8644 connector, which I think is an 86, no, like the 8643, but it's heavy duty, a little more stronger. And then right in the middle, you see the cable. It's the 8644, the 8644 cable. That's going to go directly from the outside of the NAS to the outside of the NAS enclosure, okay? And you see the other orange arrow points to another adapter of the same sort, going in the front, coming out the back inside the case. Inside the case, although we're not using a case for this demonstration, there'll be what they call a breakout cable with, and that part is a SF8643, okay? And there's 4 connectors, one for each hard drive of 4 hard drives. If I want to use 8 hard drives, I got to use 2 of those connectors. That's why I got the double adapter. I'm not going to use a double adapter today. Well, not today, when I do this, but I just want to show that it works, okay? I'm using the top 2 the way they are right now because I'm already running TrueNAS, and maybe if we get lucky, we can make another pool. Now, read the bottom note, please. The 8643 to 8644 adapter's weak point is a circuit board, okay? And the fact that it doesn't have a motherboard slot to support it to make it a little more stiffer. But the bottom part of the metal bracket does go into the cutout of the expansion slot. You know what I mean when you put a slot into the little hole for the tongue of the expansion cover to go in. Okay, there's my setup. What's interesting about this is you can expand the HD capacity of small computers. As long as you got the slot. You got a controller in there, but you got an extra expansion cover slot. However, my enclosure only goes to 3 gigabits a second, but that's okay for this test. The controllers I'm using are actually capable of 12 gigabits, even though I don't have any drives like that. My old hard drives that I will use are also 3 gigabit. I don't have better drives than that except in my actual Jonsbo case and my QNAP NAS. So here's an example of enclosures you can get outside. These are better than the one I have, okay? If you notice, They fit in 3 5 1/4 bays. There's a note on the side, 1, 2, and 3. And you can put 4 drives in it. You see the 4 drives? So it puts 4 drives in a space where 3 drives go. That's pretty good. I've done that for years. When I thought I was a big shot and I had my 8 drive RAID, and I got my 500 gigabyte hard drives, and I had 2.72 terabytes. I thought I was the man for about 3 weeks. And things got better after that, after I spent the money. But the LSI that I use are coming from eBay. I use eBay because they give you all the cables and a 2-year warranty you can purchase also for a couple of bucks. There's better enclosures, believe me, than the one I'm using. And this StarTech one is probably one of them. I never used this model. I'm just showing it because it came off the Amazon page. And you can see the back where it's got adapters and plugins for the power connectors. And that's how you run it. But it'll be inside a case. Don't need a motherboard if you're only using the case for that. So I'm looking for an old case. That's why I don't have one right now. Got a couple of buddies that may come up with one. It's really hard to find a case with more than 2 5 1/4 slots in it. Externally exposed, of course. Okay? But be aware. The units that show a single eSATA on the back, that's not for this use. Those are to access 4 drives, but not with the speed and the different channels like this would do. Okay? Well, that's it for the preview. I'm confusing you guys enough. Let's wait a week or two till my LSI 9300 16i comes in. And hope this slideshow explains what I'm going to do. The slides are kind of busy. Little pictures all over the place. Like I was trying to plan it when I was going. But if you can't figure out what I'm going to do, then you'll just see it when I do it. Okay? Thanks for your time. See you soon.